All right, this week, Mark and I sat here and BS'd about Chinese spy balloons and UFOs. And you got to tune in and hear all the excitement about how Mark believes there's aliens in the world. And make sure you check us out. You can see us on YouTube on thebaynet.com/podcasts, on Facebook, on thebaynet.com on Facebook, and Spotify and Amazon Music. So check us out. Welcome to today's episode of Get Real with Chris and Mark, and we're going to have a lot of fun on this
We're getting real. That's right.
We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about, UFOs?
Getting real controversial.
Are we? Is it really that controversial? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's super cool. I'll be honest with you. I threw this out here in our planning session.
The hours-long planning session.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
Okay, minutes ago. But I've been obsessed with this. I think it's you got these UFO sightings off of the naval ships and stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that there's now a department in our government to investigate what they call UAPs. Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Oh, okay.
That's what they call them now.
It's not UFOs.
They don't call them UFOs because that's kind of like a taboo.
Right. Okay.
A taboo
it's a
name.
new name. It's got a new name now.
But the thing is there's all these instances, over the last 60 years, especially around military installations, these sightings and stuff, which. It's funny because I took us off track right out the gate, right?
Okay, that's right.
We were going to talk about the Chinese spy balloon.
Right.
And then I'm like, aliens! Let's go!
All right, Mark, question.
Let's dive in.
The question is, have you ever seen a UFO?
I have, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. A spy balloon?
I've seen an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Mark. Go ahead. Wait a minute. Do we have any aluminum foil? I can.
Well, man, I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot, make me sound like a crazy person.
You did it to me.
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever seen is I saw something. So I live on the water, right? And I got a view across the river.
Okay.
So there was a storm going on. It could have been anything, right?
Okay.
It could have been a multitude of things. There was a storm going on. There wasn't any lightning. It was just heavy rain. It was at night. And I was sitting out on my porch. I like to smoke cigars. I'm sitting out smoking a cigar by myself. And across the river, it was obviously in the distance, not directly across, so you could see it in the atmosphere. But I saw a bright blue flash.
Oh, okay.
And it flashed and expanded out, and then it shot up and disappeared.
Okay. All right. So
it was an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
I think that would be official.
Yeah, but it was crazy, and I'm like, maybe a transformer blew up. I'm like, I don't know.
You know what's funny about that is sometimes you get people who catch it on camera. I'm like, I'm not that quick, right?
Yeah,
I'm just never that fast.
I would have never caught that on camera.
Oh, by the time you get to your camera, it's done anyway.
I think somebody may have been with me that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I recall it, I'm like, I remember it being like did you see that moment?
That's pretty cool.
And it happened that fast,
Yeah.
But that was my one crazy instance. How about you?
No, you know what? I was trying to think about it. I feel like there's been times in my life where I thought that was unusual or something that I couldn't identify what it was, and but I can't really distinguish an actual incident where I saw something.
I just think this is
we used to joke about it and say that we saw stuff.
I think it's just a crazy topic because there's so much stuff in the news right now.
Yeah, I know. Right.
About this, and if you read enough, you'll hear about the fact that the government has basically said that there are things that are happening in the sky that they can't decipher what they are.
Right. We were just
and then all of a sudden we're shooting stuff out of the sky, which some of my friends think it's aliens. Some of my friends think it's China. Some people think that they were just recreational things that people were doing
drones
at
in the sky
40,000 feet.
Yeah.
But
I had to ask some of my more intelligent military type friends, because when the balloon was the Chinese balloon, I was like, we fired a multi-million-dollar missile at it, right? Or whatever it is.
$400,000 Tomahawk missile.
Why couldn't we have grappling hooked it or something, right? Somebody throw a fishing rod and reel it in.
That's actually not a horrible idea. Why couldn't we do that?
But then I said, can't we take a helicopter with a grappling hook and just drag it down? And then they're like, a helicopter can't go that high or something like that.
40,000
I was like, okay,
feet.
all right. So I guess that makes sense. And I guess pulling a grappling hook behind a F-14 probably isn't the best thing either.
You're dragging this balloon behind you.
Right.
Yeah,
it might rip it to shreds anyway.
Yeah,
What's the difference? Fire. You just blew it up.
You know what's interesting about that? So somebody was telling me that the reason why they didn't shoot it with like a machine gun is because you could poke a million holes in that thing and it would still float for a long time.
14 days to come down.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. So I guess they had to shoot it with something that it actually exploded. I think like on impact, and that way it burnt it, and that's what brought it down. I thought that was pretty amazing.
It's just I don't know. I don't want to. It's just. That's not our alien world that we were talking about before, but it is.
No, but it's in the same ballpark.
I think so,
and at the same time, some of these other, like the thing that I saw, I mean, there's probably great natural explanations for most of that stuff. Well, or it's aliens. Who knows?
I've seen some of those videos on YouTube. There's some crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, you saw the Tic Tac and the what's the other? They call it a gimbal. The other one's called a gimbal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a black cube with a sphere around it.
I think I saw that.
It's so creepy, and you hear like the pilots talk about these encounters with these things, and it is definitely freaky.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy, and you listen to it, and you're like, maybe it is a thing, you know? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. And then I said earlier, like the unidentified object in Canada, the one they shot down.
Well, there was two.
Yeah, one of them.
There's one was in Alaska.
Okay.
And then there was one over Lake Huron in Canada that actually flew over, like, I think it flew over Montana, and then they clipped it when it got out over Canada. But in both those instances, they've still yet to come out and say what those objects actually were. And like I was saying earlier, they drug it out for like 10 days. The media, I think the media was like, nobody say anything because this is just clickbait like crazy.
Yeah, right.
Every new update that they got, it's like at first just we shot something, then it's like it flew over Montana. And then we shot it over Lake Huron. Oh, the contents might be at the bottom of the lake. And obviously I'm saying all this because I read all these articles.
I can tell.
The clickbait worked for me at least.
I'm like, somebody read it all.
I just want to know what this stuff is.
Mark, I think this was really, you can admit it now. I mean, it's all clear now. It's your new real estate photography that you sent up, and now you're taking pictures of properties.
I want to know if they knew it was me. That's right. It's my aerial photos.
It just took you a little longer to get them.
You know, the angle of the aerial photo is best shot at 40,000 feet from Canada.
Right.
For here in Southern Maryland.
Got a great angle on that house.
You just can't beat that.
Right. The house is gonna sell itself now,
But yeah, I think it's a crazy cool topic, and we still don't know what those things were. And like I said, it took 10 days. They let this linger out here, and then China places sanctions against our two largest military contractors. And the same day, our president comes out and says the objects that we shot down did not belong to China. And I was like,
wait a minute.
That's a little suspect there. Yeah. You waited until that happened to make that statement?
Yeah, it seems a little.
But yeah, we still don't know what they were.
Coinky dink.
We don't know what they were, but they didn't belong to China.
Right? They didn't belong to China. They did not belong to China.
Please remove the sanctions now. Thank you.
That's too funny, actually. Well, it's not funny, but I don't know, man. I part of me, like, I don't know about the whole alien thing, but I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that goes on. It's almost like there's a lot of evidence, just no final proof, you know?
Well, the U.S. government has declassified their information, and they've come out and flat out said that there are things that happen in the sky that we cannot explain.
Okay.
That's what they're unexplained. We don't have an explanation. Now, they're saying, hey, it could be aliens. It could be a technology that one of our enemies have that we don't know about.
Right.
And that's why they're investigating into these things. But either way, I think it's interesting.
No, it is totally fascinating. I mean, you're right. Either way, if it's
aliens, it's interesting. If it's Russia, it's interesting. Yeah, either way, it's interesting to see what's happening there. And the fact, like, if you watch the gimbal or the Tic Tac videos,
Yeah.
like how these things can maneuver, and
Yeah.
they're saying that it's physically impossible.
I'm gonna say about the spy balloon. I was fascinated by the technology of how they drove that thing, like with solar panels and
Yeah.
controlled where it went, and it seems like that's pretty
And
impressive.
it's so funny.
Actually.
So that it's a weather balloon, right? But they called it a spy balloon. But then they also said that China has had these weather balloons
Right.
flying over our country and other countries for a really long time, right?
Right.
If you read any of that stuff, 'cause
Right.
obviously I did. But they literally said that these things are flying over all the time, and now all of a sudden it's an issue.
So
Out of nowhere, it's an issue.
I want to know I know we're in a very military present. Technology
I
present
wish we
area.
had like a phone. We need like a
We
phone
need
where we need to go live and have a phone where people
hot
can
phone.
call in. Because could you imagine the phone calls that we would get?
Oh my gosh! that'd
Right
be funny.
now, like,
right.
oh, look, just post your stories of all your UFO sightings below. Based on the stories, we'll decide whether or not we bring you on the show.
Now that's clickbait.
Yes.
Now that's clickbait.
Yeah. Read the comments. I'm
Right.
here for the comments.
But I think with all the technology people around here, like, are we sending balloons over China? I'm just curious. Do we have balloons over China? I want to
in
know.
my head, I was trying to figure, like, what we have satellites. So, like, what's the purpose of a balloon?
Right. What's funny
seems
is
very
it's funny you say
archaic.
that because those satellites, man, you want to talk about impressive technology, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they can
can see a
drill down
penny
on
on
a
the-
soda can in somebody's hand, and
Yeah, they can see a
so
penny
you're right.
on
So
the
what's
ground.
I wonder what the difference is between a spy balloon and a satellite. I know they come over at different times, and
So this is my guess, and hopefully it doesn't get me like abducted by some government somewhere or
well,
something.
I need that aluminum foiling in.
Right. But my guess is that in order to communicate with the satellite, the signal has to go from here to outer space.
Right.
How do you intercept it?
Right. Right.
You get in between it.
Yeah. Right.
So that's my guess, is that if you wanted to know, and I had this conversation with somebody else, and they were
Yeah.
like, yeah, but like, most of our comms can be hardlined in the United States. Like when we're
Yeah.
talking about things
Yeah.
that, they're trying to keep tight to the
Yeah,
chest.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but there's no hard line between here and Ukraine,
Right.
right?
Right.
So maybe that thing was there to try to intercept communications.
Maybe.
Going to a satellite that's then providing support elsewhere in the world. But
There's just a million. I'm sure they know now because they've.
I'm sure they knew all
captured it.
along.
They knew all along, right? Hopefully.
either
Hopefully
that,
they
or
did.
it really
I
was a
hope they
weather
did.
balloon, and then there was some other shit happening in the world, and it's like, hey, look over here. Everybody look at this balloon over here.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Don't Look Up?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah,
I think
that's
about
good.
that all the time.
It's
and
actually funny.
How close we are to that
There's
in some
so-
instances.
yeah.
But it's like, hey, don't look up. Whatever you do, don't look
That's,
up.
that's crazy. But so I know this is pathetic. We've been sitting here talking about Chinese spy balloons and UFOs for this episode. But,
Look, it's called Get Real, right?
Right.
So we're just getting real.
I
We're
mean,
talking about
hey,
what's
look,
in the
we're
news.
talking about it. Everybody's talking about it, right?
Exactly.
Other people are talking about it.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't we? I don't
I'm
know.
curious to know what our listeners think about this subject. Like, literally, I want to see some comments. I want to see the comments roll and see what everybody has to say.
It'd be
about-
interesting to hear what you have to say about it for, what everybody else has to say.
Yeah.
Because, it's obviously a topic we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Not just us. I don't mean us. I mean
So-
the world.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, gosh.
Do you think aliens exist?
You know what? I think we've I think we've proven that there's life on other planets. Right?
Okay.
So that's
Simple enough.
So right away, that's fact, right?
Yeah.
So the question then becomes is what kind of life is it?
Right.
And how evolved is it?
Right. And is it monitoring us?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy, I swear.
Right.
Anyway.
That's funny.
All right. Well, I guess with that we'll wrap up and
Maybe we'll do a serious topic next week.
maybe not. Who
Maybe,
knows?
maybe not.
And we're just gonna be getting real.
We really appreciate you guys listening to us bullshit.
Right, I know. And if you're still listening,
Yeah.
more power to you. Because I can't believe you listened that long.
No, come on, man.
No, it's fun.
I would definitely listen because the title will say something about UFOs or a Chinese spy
Right, so you're
balloon.
going to tune in.
Totally clicking it.
Tuning in.
Totally clicking it.
I love it. All right, with that, we'll close out. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week. See ya.